All right, guys, so we're back with another 10-Minute Tuesday, and this week we don't have Connor. We're going to do something different than what our tech boy has been talking about. So we're going to talk about goose calling.
Yep.
Right? So first of all, what goose call do you prefer to blow? Like, what's your go-to goose call in the field?
Like always,
Yeah.
on my lanyard, never gets changed. Molkier EX Reflex.
EX?
EX Reflex, that's what it's called.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
You just thought it was the Reflex?
Yeah.
Show how much you know.
Yeah, I don't know. Shit.
Silly boy.
Anyway.
Handsome boy.
Okay.
Silly boy.
Reflex, I blow a Triumph.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What is your go-to goose calling cadence?
So that's the thing. I don't have like a necessary go-to cadence. However, what I'm doing, I make sure that it's rhythmic. That's the big thing. Whether it's a hiccup sequence where it's you start out slow and then you work your way up and then work your way back down. It's either that, whether it's a cluck moan or a double cluck moan or a quick spit moan. No, it doesn't matter how I do the hiccup. However, I do the hiccup a lot in the field, and that's because a lot of geese out in the wild. A lot of geese out in the wild. They're doing wild Canada geese. They're doing quite the amount of hiccups is what they're doing. They're just doing a lot of that.
Oh.
A lot of
Sure.
So, but I try to incorporate a lot of moans, quick spits, double clucks, and clucks. That's what I'm really focused on when I'm goose calling. So I don't necessarily have like a consistent cadence. If I had something that I see myself doing a lot, it's a cluck, double cluck sequence, and here's what it sounds like. Something like that. And that's just one speed that I'm doing, but a lot of times I switch up that speed. If the geese are in close, it's definitely a lot more calm. If they start to pull away, then I get a lot more fast on it.
Okay. In terms of like different hunting situations, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So like if you're hunting a bigger spread, are you calling more?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Obviously there's more geese, more in the field. So
I want to sound like more.
Yeah, you want to sound like more.
Mm-hmm.
What else you got for that?
So what else I had for that was throwing your hands. So once you become more advanced in goose calling, I've found that once you learn how to control your back pressure, you can get really some cool stuff going on. And so like if I'm doing two clucks to make a double cluck, like two separate clucks, I'll have one cluck going out in front of me and one out to the side / behind me. You know,
Can you show us what that sounds like?
I'll just throw that sound. Yep.
Sure.
Just like that.
I'm watching the soundboard.
Oh, is it?
Well,
just,
when you throw it to the side, it's louder.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So what I'm doing is I have my first cluck like this, and then I will switch my other hand and use my hand like this to throw the sound that way. So like this hand doesn't really change.
Right.
My on hand doesn't change, but my off hand does.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. What are some other tips you can give? Okay, let me ask you this. A beginner caller, right? They come into the field and they're trying to contribute.
Mm-hmm.
What can they do?
Cluck.
Yeah.
Just straight normal clucks, man.
And what does that sound like?
Just like pick like essentially just do what you're good at, which for most people is a cluck. So just do the cluck over and over again, but try to sync up with the other people that you're goose hunting with.
What about a honk? I hear a lot of people just honk, 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 honk.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the honk.
Yeah,
That's more of like a reach out note.
Yep.
But you can still make it sound really goosey.
I've seen people kill them all the way to the ground, though.
Correct.
Yep.
And it's just the goose that day or your conditions that day. But I know a lot of guys who can make a honk sound really goosey and in close. And this is like my rendition of that.
Sure.
You know, you can get pretty darn goosey with it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay. But like you're mostly hearing that out of guys with a flute.
Yeah. Okay, so in what situation, let's just say it's like a normal day, normal spread, what situation are you changing up your calling, right? So like in which way are you reading birds? Give us a few scenarios.
So if we're running traffic, we're not where the birds want to be. And so what I do is I try to reach out with my call.
Yep.
And I try to grab their attention and bring them into our spread.
Okay.
Let them know that, hey, there's a party down there.
Right.
You know? And so once you get those birds' attention, a lot of people want to slow down and, let them finish to the ground. And you'll see a lot of birds sliding off. And that's very situational, but a lot of times you don't need to hammer them all the way down to the ground. Whereas an X field, they're already coming there. They know what it looks like. They see birds in the field. You're essentially not trying to F it up, so you're going to be a little more decent on your calling. So it really, really depends on just reading the birds, honestly. But when I got good at goose calling, I noticed myself just like ripping the call, And now the last couple of years, I really tend to just watch the birds a lot more and try to figure out what is and what is not working.
Yeah. Okay, so like if geese are far off and you're trying to get their attention, can you show us what that would sound like for you?
It's a lot of moans, and it's a lot of trains, essentially, or honks.
Yeah, loud honks.
Yep.
High-pitched honks.
So this is going to be loud.
Yeah,
so
and
just
just
heads up on
blow
that.
it a little further away from
Right,
that.
I'll push the mic a little bit.
Okay. Yeah.
Stuff
You're just
like
making
that.
really high-pitched noise.
Or
loud noise.
Yep. So like today, geese were 3 miles out, and I'm just going on a prayer. So I'm just flagging my arm off, and then I'm doing a lot of this. A lot of that.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to put as much sound out there as fast as possible. So, and if it's windy, who knows if they can even hear you? Who knows? But I'm going to try. I'm for sure going to try.
Okay. So you said you do a lot more now of like watching birds.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give us like 2 or 3 different situations that you see commonly where you're like, all right, now I'm about to do this?
Yep. So you see geese locking up.
Uh-huh.
But they're still kind of weary. Like they're dropping their feet, but then they're bringing them right back up, dropping their feet, bringing it right back up.
And how far out are these birds?
They're kind of sliding back and forth. They're not, you don't know for sure if they're going to come in. These are about 60 yards out. I'll start doing a lot of what's called a stall cluck. And that's like a murmur cluck. And this is what that sounds like.
And why is that?
I don't know. It's like it's more of a mellow sound, but it still keeps their attention without blowing them out.
Sure.
And you can really bring down or bring up your volume and how you do that. So so yeah, I think that's like one of my favorite finishing notes.
Okay, let me ask you another one. Let's say you got birds that are working you for like 3 or 4 minutes, doing your normal thing, but they don't want to land.
Yeah.
But they're at like 50, 60 yards.
Yeah.
Just circling. What are you doing?
I'm going up and down the hiccup scale is what I'm doing. And like when they come right over the top of you, not so much. But when they start to circle back on away from you, that's when I start ramping it up. And then when they turn back, I'll try a bunch of different stuff. But it's obviously not working what I was doing before.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to switch it up. And a lot of times, I like to say that I try to keep my hand from being shown. But I notice myself using quick spits, and that's one of the most aggressive notes that a goose makes, which is the... So that's a super aggressive note, and I try to save that for last. But I'll just normally do just like a hiccup. That's what I'll try to do to try to get them to come down and just be like, hey, they're fighting over something down there, and I freaking want it now.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's our 10 minutes, bud.
Okay. Yeah, that's about 10 minutes, guys. If there's any topics that you guys want to hear about, let us know so we can make sure we get those in
the
on
comments.
These 10-minute Tuesdays. That will help us. Leave a rating for us. Check us out on YouTube and Instagram. This will be on YouTube, so if you're listening to it on the podcast, check it out there. And if you're on YouTube, check out our podcast. Anywhere you get podcasts. We'll see you soon.